Well, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm at the FIFA, what do we call it? The best FIFA Football Awards 2017. It's not the mediocre, it's not the worst, it's the best, DT. We've had the chance to interview people like Peter Shilton and all that. To be honest, I'm more interested in your views, and one person I want to talk to you about is the one person that has dominated your Twitter feed for a couple of weeks now, to be honest with you, mate, and it's Alex Oxlade Chamberlain.
Yes.
You've been giving him some stick?
Yeah, I have, and rightly so, I feel. Do you know what? Until 6 months ago, around that, when he started hitting a bit of form, people will be able to verify as well and look through my Twitter, and there's even a video, quite a popular video that went over Facebook that I've always had an issue with him because he's so inconsistent. He plays one game where you think, oh my God, this player just looks like a world beater, and then you've got 4 games where you're like, what are you doing? And watching him the other night against Leicester, Liverpool fans got a sample of what we've experienced for 6 years. When he's in a great position to put a cross in the box and there's no danger, it goes out for a goal kick. Losing possession, misplaced passes, so many. Don't get me wrong, like I said, for 6 months or so, he was probably, behind Alexis, our best player. He stepped up and he seemed to realise what the fans wanted, and when we was going through all the problems with Wenger and the anger, and he seemed to get it. He seemed to understand us, and that's where a lot of the hurt comes from as well, because we're angry, because we had a lot of injury problems at Arsenal, a lot of inconsistency. We stuck by him, we educated him for 6 years, and then all of a sudden he just says, I'm jumping ship. I don't think we'll ever know the real reasons behind it, but he took a pay cut. I think that kind of says a lot about Arsene Wenger in many respects. But then it was the way he went about things when he first left to go to Liverpool. One of his first interviews, he talks about, well, we're in good form after beating Arsenal 4-0.
I'm not sure that was 100% true, mate.
I'm still waiting to find out whether that was or not, but you see things like that.
That's the internet, mate.
Yeah, and then obviously there was, it was just the comments that he did make over Klopp.
How he can learn, he can develop. And isn't that just everything that you've been saying for how long? I mean,
yes, it is. It is kind of.
Isn't he just agreeing with you? And it just hurts Arsenal fans because he's telling you and almost confiding that what you're saying is true, and that's what's happening behind closed doors.
Don't get me wrong. It's kind of, I do look at that in that respect, and he is kind of mirroring what we say. So in that respect, and like I did say to you a minute ago, that there is hurt in there as well, because I feel like he was one of ours. I felt like he understood us as fans. When there was problems last year, he was the one that was coming out and doing the interviews and saying it's not acceptable for Arsenal. I feel so sorry for the fans. We apologise to them. So you kind of build that relationship with a player because you feel like, yes, he understands us. And there's such a divide between players and fans in this modern era that it felt like, we've kind of been kicked in the teeth. And obviously, it's no offence to you guys and everything else, but there's a long running thing going on between Arsenal and Liverpool at the moment, especially with transfers, and I think it does start from the Luis Suarez thing, and you lot were disrespected over the pound. We feel we were in the right. We still don't know as to whether there was a real clause there. Were we just doing what we were allowed to do, or and then we've heard rumours as well that what's your lad that plays for you? Like, I can't remember his name now. Not Coutinho.
Are you talking about Firmino?
Firmino, that's the one. That he's got a clause in his contract that stipulates that he can talk to any other club or leave for a certain fee, but Arsenal. Yeah,
I've heard that one as well, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with that because
I know you are.
Listen, you've got to. We tried to sign Gabriel Hines from Manchester United back in the day, and they just refused to deal with us, and that's fine. When there's a rivalry there, I don't think you should sell. So for me, Alex Oxlade Chamberlain, whether you rate him or not, he was in and around your first team last season. We have hopefully strengthened us, and hopefully weakened us, and weakened use, and that's what you should be doing, and that's why Arsenal shouldn't be selling, and obviously shouldn't be letting players run into the last year of the contract.
That is our fault. Last year's of contracts. If Oxlade Chamberlain had 3 years, for example, you think you paid 40 million for 1 year. We could have been sitting there going 70, 80. And I don't think Liverpool would have paid that. I don't think he's worth that. Nowhere near. I don't think he's really worth the 40. If you look at his whole career over 6 years at Arsenal, you can narrow it down to 6 months.
I think he's stagnated like Arsenal, if I'm honest. I think you know, you look at Arsenal over the last few years, they've been in the top 4, and listen, as a Liverpool fan, mate, I would have loved Liverpool to have been in the top 4 every single year, and I don't underestimate just how good that is. But I watch enough Arsenal fan TV and I speak to enough Arsenal fans to understand that what your fans expect is a bare minimum of 4th place, and what you've seen is stagnation. So I think it's fair to say that, much like many of the Arsenal players, he's stagnated. I'm hoping that he goes and develops as a Liverpool player and kicks on. The question is, will he? And you know, in Jurgen Klopp, I think he's got a manager there that can make him a better footballer. One more question for you. Obviously, you're going to want to speak about the stagnating stuff. Do you think centre midfield is his best position?
Do you know what? Some of his best performances were centre midfield. One that stands out for me was in the Champions League against AC Milan, and we lost 4-0 in the San Siro in the first leg, and we went 3-0 up at the Emirates by half time, and he was instrumental in that, and he was so good. But then he done so well in that period at right wing back. But then what you do with a player that basically says, I don't want to play there, I want to play centrally, because is his heart in it? And this is where we was in a catch-22. You looked so good as right wing back, and you were keeping Hector Bellerin out of the team to a point where he was like, I'm off to Barcelona, I want to leave. But he's openly come out and said, and even after the cup final, he was being interviewed on the pitch, and Gerrard and that were there, and he said, I want to be Steven Gerrard. I want to be just like him and play it. Not in a million years do I think he will ever get to the levels of Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard is a freak in terms of what he done, and you know, I look back on players that are no longer playing, and I can look over their careers a lot more openly, as when he played for Liverpool. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he was crap because he's a Liverpool player. Do you know what I mean? But the
it's guy, like me in Scholes, mate.
At the end of the day, he was world class, and if there's one thing that I wish that he did have to his trophy haul, is a Premiership, because that would have just been...
Oh yeah, me as well, mate. Me as well, honestly.
Sorry, I forgot you guys ain't won it, but then you can throw it back on me that we've never won the Champions League, and that breaks my heart, and I nearly cry my eyes out, and I think of 06 final and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know, I don't know what you guys think of Oxlade Chamberlain. I'm seeing a lot online, and people are saying, please take him back, Arsenal, but it'll be an interesting rest of the season for him, and we'll see whether he can kick on or not.
Cool, thanks very much for your time, mate. Appreciate it.